In this video I'm gonna continue with the grid and columns. So once again, when you specify column width for a specific screen size, that column width is applied to the specified screen size and up, if no higher screen size is also specified. So let's say I want to have 4 columns in a row on small screen and up, which has the width of, let's see, so 576 and up is the small screen. But I want to have 2 columns in that row on large screens only. Large screens and up, that is. So that's 992 and up. And I want to have full width of 100% below small screen. How would I do that? Let's see. So first of all, I would have a container. And inside of that container I would have a row. So I want to have 4 columns in a row on small screen and up. So I would have a div with a class of call sm for small. And I said I want 4 in a row, so I would give it a width of 3, since 3 is 1/4 of 12. So this just like so is gonna be 100% width below sm and 1/4 on small screen and up. Duplicate this, shift all down in VS Code 3 more times, and I'm just gonna give this container a class of white, white, and the row a background of red. Actually I'm gonna give each div a specific background, so red, green, blue, and black. And here it is. So on small and up it's 1/4, and below small, and small is once again 576, below 576 that is, and you can see the screen width in the upper right. So 576 is this, and below that is 100% wide. Okay, but I also said I want to have 2 columns in that row on large screens and up. So how would I modify this? I'm gonna keep this one just so you can reference it and make a copy of the whole container, and just give this one empty 15 class just to have some top margin. I could have had this in a row of its own instead of the container here, but doesn't make a difference. So anyway, I want 2 columns in a row on large and up, so I would add here call dash lg for large and 6, since 6 is half of 12, and so on for the rest. So call lg6 and call lg6 here and call lg6 here. So lg, and you can see here now each one takes up, there's actually 2 columns in a row, that is, since there are 4 divs, it's 2. So I'm just gonna have this say also 50% on large and up, and just copy this and paste it here. Okay, so you can see here that large has this class call dash lg dash and the number of columns. Extra large xl, medium md, small sm, and extra small, or the default, is just call. So whenever you specify column width for a specific screen size, if the screen size below that one is not specified, it will always be 100% wide. So if I, let's say, have here the container and the row, I'm just gonna duplicate this one and get rid of these 2 and this text as well. Okay, so if I say here md6 and get rid of this LG here. So this is gonna be 50% on medium and up, and duplicate that. Just give this a class of green. So let's see. Okay, it's 50-50 because I'm on medium or bigger. But if I go below medium, and let's just see, medium actually is 768, so below that 768, let's see, is the border for the medium. Okay, so below that you can see it's full width 100%. So once again, whenever you specify column width for a specific screen size, if the screen size below that one is not specified, it will always be 100% wide. It's not just for small columns and below. So, and what if you always wanted to have 4 columns in a row? So even if the screen was this wide, you still want 4 columns in a row. You can do that with col. So I'm gonna copy this again and get rid of these two. So I'm gonna give it a class of col, and I'm also gonna specify now 3 here, so it takes up 1/4. So 1/4 always I'm gonna say, and duplicate that 3 more times like so. Let me just give it background classes here, just so it's easier to see. So red, green, blue and black is what I have in the style CSS, and here it is, and it's always the case. So it's always 4 columns in a row, regardless of screen size, even if the screen size is 150 pixels. Okay. So what if you wanted to modify this row here and have 2 columns in the row on large screens and up? How would you do that? If you want, you can try it yourself. So if you want to try it yourself, pause the video now. I'm gonna wait a few seconds and do it on video. Okay, I'm gonna do it now. So you should have paused by now if you wanted to try it yourself. So I'm gonna make a copy of it, just so you guys have it for reference. So it's always 4, so it's always 1/4 of the row, but I want it to take up 2 columns. So it's always 4 columns in a row, but I want it to take up 2 columns on large and up. So to do that, I'm gonna modify this here and say col LG6. And so on for the rest. So col LG6 here, and here, and here. So this is gonna be 50% on large and up, and I'm just gonna copy that text. Okay, so large is, let's see, 992 and up. So let's go to 992. Now it's 4 columns, and if I go over 992, you can see it's 2 columns. Each column takes up 50%, that is. Okay, and of course you can have more rows in a container, so I'm just gonna duplicate this one and just duplicate this row and just, so let's see, and here it is. So this is 2 rows in one container, and you can have as many as you want. I'm just gonna give this row a class of empty15 just to separate it a bit, like so. And you can also achieve a similar result to this if you just had all these divs in one row, like this. So duplicate this, and I'm gonna get rid of the closing div here and opening row div here. So all this is now in one row. And this looks basically the same as this now. It's just that this row has that margin top, but it's the same thing. And you can see it kind of acts the same, but for keeping the structure and making sure everything works as expected, it is always advisable to have up to 12 columns in a row. And finally, you can also nest content. So to nest content, you add rows within columns. So for example, if I have a container here and a row, and I can have here a div with call SM9, let's say, just that one. So I'm gonna say here this is level 1, and the class is call SM9. And now inside of this column I'm gonna have a row. Whoops. Like so. So this is nesting. And now here again I can have up to 12. So here I can say div call 6 and duplicate that one. And just say here level 2 call 6. And here as well. Let's see. And here it is. So that's nesting if the need arises, and that's also possible and acceptable. So that's really all there is to it. Of course, if you're seeing this for the first time and don't have much experience with Bootstrap, it can be overwhelming, but in essence it is really simple and easy, and with a bit of practice you will master Bootstrap 4 in no time. If you didn't understand this video and the last one fully, I would recommend watching it again and going through the code. You don't have to type it out yourself, you can just use the course files. There are start and end files to each lecture. So just look at the videos and the code again and mess with it a bit and it's gonna become clear. And anyway, let's now move on to doing the projects and mastering Bootstrap 4.